Today, I have the distinct pleasure of getting into the spirit, heart, brain of someone who I consider to be absolutely brilliant, completely submitted to God, very real and authentic, and who God has given unlimited amounts of patience for my husband and I in our journey. He and his wife, Pat, have come alongside us in many seasons, and they have had just the right counsel, love, advice to help us transition and get on the other side of it. And it wasn't an easy task that God gave them. It was very tedious, and forever I am eternally grateful for men of God and women of God who say yes to Jesus, and you did. And so thank you, Jim. I appreciate you so much. You're a blessing. So remember the song, that said, "Where do I begin to tell the story?" That's kind of how I feel about you and your books. Where do I begin? You have 23 books, and God keeps giving them to you, probably because you're faithful and you write what he tells you to do. But before we get into the heart of this interview, I want to say this book has been on my nightstand and helped me for 6 months straight. And you say that
This is the season that we're in. Jezebel is attacking everybody we know. Now, the interesting thing is most people, especially in the church setting, have linked the name Jezebel to driven, opinionated woman.
yes,
That is not the case.
that is inaccurate.
That is true. This one is really about a principality that is over this whole continent. And
Yes.
as a consequence, we are seeing the fullness of its attacks against individuals as against us corporately this day. So,
Okay, you can go to jimandpatbanks.com. This is gold. All right, and then this is a new book, A God-Ordained Transition.
yeah, maybe a month old.
Okay, and so tell us just one-liner on this.
This is about the passage in John 15:15, where Jesus says to his disciples, guys, I'm not going to call you servants anymore because you're kind of clueless. You don't know what I'm up to. But from now on, he says, I have, past tense, prepared. I'm going to call you friends. So there's this place that we have to make a transition into. And there's some steps along the way. But this is the place he's prepared for us.
Yeah.
But there has to be some intentionality on our part to be able to get there.
So this is hot off the press. We're going to become a friend of God. Excited. All right, now these books, The Enemy Within.
That one's on fear, dealing with fear, which is another biggie.
Yes, and this was a
Product of
textbook in
Jezebel.
our Bible college that we used for Real World School of Ministry.
Awesome.
Very helpful. And then there is The Insidious Dance. What's that about?
The paralysis of perfectionism.
Ooh, how many of us struggle with perfectionism?
There is a prayer in there called resigning from the system of the world that everybody needs to pray about every 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah. Yes. Renewing our mind.
Exactly.
Okay, and then this is what put you and Pat really on the map, on the radar, where people said, okay, this is a now word, and you're dealing with trauma.
Correct.
So this is a classic from the Banks Library.
10 years old, it is a classic, I guess you could say.
Yes, this was also a textbook in our Bible college, which helped set so many people free, because trauma is a phenomena that the church really doesn't understand.
Correct.
But we'll talk about it. All right, and then lastly, and this is probably we'll camp out for a little while, and that is your newest book, Who Am I? And it's a workbook, which is phenomenal. And it has lots of interactive questions where you sit with the Holy Spirit. So let's springboard off this to start.
Okay.
Tell us about it.
Well, I want to start at the other end of it.
Okay.
Trauma is created to do one thing, and that is to mess with your personal identity.
Yes.
If you don't know who you are, you won't know why you're here. You'll never figure it out.
Yep.
Lots of distractions and detours along the way. And so this is kind of where it began. And so part of what Pat has amassed is some pieces of how we resolve trauma for people. But eventually you're going to come to this place, because typically what happens is trauma has so impacted you, you don't really know who you are. You've just been trying to survive for an extended period of time. And here you are in this place that I don't know what I like. I don't know what I care about. I don't know what I'm passionate about. And I need some help.
You're lost.
In getting there. Yeah.
Or you feel lost. You aren't lost, but you feel lost.
True. It also happens for individuals who are experiencing the empty nest, where your whole life has been dedicated to raising children and they're gone, and now I haven't spent any time on me, so right. I don't know who I am or what I really want to give myself to. This really all started off a few years ago. We had a workshop at church put on by an internet guru guy for entrepreneurs and independent business people. And because we fit that general category and it was free, I decided I needed to go. So I went to this thing, but it took a direction that I didn't ever anticipate. And I walked away with this question: have I ever sat down and intentionally defined who I am? No, I hadn't. So I took pad and pen, sat down, and started writing. And about 15 minutes later, I realized this is a gigantic waste of time, because all I'm doing is describing who I am as a function of what I do.
And who other people have said you are, right?
Yeah, and we're not what we do, although there ought to be some reflection of it in who we are and what we do. So I was like, Lord, I don't get this. And he said, well, I want you to go back to the foundational elements that you described, and let's start there. I said, okay, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a grandfather, and he said, stop right there. What is the absolute basic element? Well, I'm a man. Yeah. I said, okay. He said, as a man, or conceivably as a woman, do you have authority? Like, never thought about it. Good question.
Yeah.
It's in the book.
Yes.
Okay. And I thought, well, if you have responsibility, then responsibility grants you the authority to accomplish it. So, yeah. And the Lord goes, wrong answer. Okay, I recognize that one as performance. Well, I suppose, if I see somebody who's in trouble, then my compassion would compel me to go assist them. And he said, wrong answer.
It's playing the gong show with you, right?
And I was just, Lord, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Because of this performance
it's huge.
thing that we have. And so he said, well, I'll take it slow for you.